Welcome to Z Static. I'm Zach Sprinkle. So today I'm going to make you a video on what I eat on the average day. So what we got here, everything's pretty much prepped. So I got some steak meat here, some bone marrow. We're going to be frying that up. Ground beef. I use 73% lean. So this is the highest fat ground beef I can find. That way it keeps my protein at a lower level. Fat is a little higher. We have some liver and I have some chopped up kidney for my organ meat. I don't want to eat a lot of organ meat because it's so nutrient dense that you run the risk of actually some nutrient toxicity, as well as it's so high in protein and low in fat. In order to keep my fats up, I don't want to eat a lot of organ meat because then my protein will be too high, fat's too low. So we're gonna go ahead and get cooking here. Now the steak and the marrow I like to throw in the air fryer. And in the air fryer, I like to put a pan in the bottom because I like to catch all of the grease that drips off of whatever I'm cooking, and I'll save it for later. So what I want to do is I just simply season everything with salt. So I'm just gonna put some, this is a salt, it's like a salt, I believe it comes from like the Salt Lake bed, Salt Lake, Utah. So when it comes to salt, you just want something with some color in it. Himalayan salt, pink salt, purple salt, whatever you can find. So I just layer everything in here. A little extra piece of marrow there, I'll throw that on top. And I'm just gonna throw it in my air fryer. All right, and now I'm going to get the pans prepped up. So I do all of my cooking in beef tallow. It's a rendered beef fat. It's very heat stable when it comes to cooking oils. Number one, I don't add any vegetable, any seed or nut oils. So I only cook in animal oils. And on top of that, it's very heat stable. It doesn't oxidize as much as you cook. We'll get into fats in a later video. So I just want to put a good amount here. All right, so I am going to go ahead and start heating up the pans here. I want to cook all this stuff on about medium high. You don't want to cook too high because you want to make sure that you do not burn the meat, because when you char the meat, that becomes carcinogenic. So we want to make sure that we cook everything through, but we don't want the temperatures so high. Like when you're grilling steak is like an exception. That might be one time, every now and then when you want to char the meat. But as a daily thing of meat consumption, you want to make sure that you do not char the meat. All right, now it comes to my eggs. And I only consume egg yolks, so what I do, I get all my eggs and I just simply separate the yolks here, one at a time. Now the reason I do this, there's actually a couple of reasons. Number one, it keeps my protein down, my fats higher. Number two, I have a problem with digesting the whites. They make me incredibly gassy, they upset my stomach, and this is common with a lot of people. So if you're one of those people that eggs tend to make you gassy or upset your stomach, it's probably the whites. They cause a lot of people a lot of digestive issues. As well as the whites can actually interfere with the absorption of some of the nutrients in the yolks. So I want to make sure that we separate the whites out. And okay, and what do I do with the whites? I simply just put them in the garbage can. Because seriously, we've tried it and even the cats won't eat the whites. They'll eat the yolks, but not the whites. All right, now pans are heated up. I'll spread the oil around there. Go ahead and throw on my meat. Season it, salt. And I'll let this stuff sit for a minute. Now, when it comes to the eggs, I just simply throw the eggs in the tallow. And I like to put the eggs in a nice hot pan, and I just keep them moving. I like to move it around and get as much of the tallow mixed in there, and it's nice. It makes almost like a cream out of the yolks. And with the yolks, I just like to keep them moving because I don't like it when my yolks are cooked solid, so I keep them moving. Slowly they cook and they turn into kind of like a pudding almost, and it is phenomenal as an end result. And there we go. Yolks are done. That was pretty fast. Voila. All right, and since the organ meat cooks pretty quickly, I always pull it off fast. Like I said, we want to be careful not to burn anything. This is just the liver and the kidney. I'm going to leave the ground beef in there for just a couple more minutes. And it's time to pull the beef off. My ground beef here. And none of the fat goes to waste. So I'm going to put some of the fat on the eggs, a little bit more on the ground beef, some on that. I'm going to bring some over to Judy's plate as well because she loves the fat as much as I do. Time to pull the meat out of the air fryer. So I'm just going to let this sit for a couple of minutes, let it cool down, because when you let beef kind of sit and cool down a bit, it's going to retain a little bit more of the juices. It won't dry out. And I'm just going to set my fryer aside here because remember I have all the fat that I collected in the pan that I'm going to pour over this stuff once I slice it and put it onto my plate. All right, now so I've got my meat all sliced up, so I'm going to pull this pan out of the fryer and just drizzle it on. This is just good, wholesome nutritiousness, making us strong and healthy. All right, now we got everything cooked. It's time for the final touches here. So Judy prefers to eat a little bit of fruit, so I'm just gonna slice up a banana, throw that on her plate. And me, I don't eat any fruit. However, I do add raw, unfiltered honey to mine. And if you guys have never had egg yolks with salt and honey on it, you are missing out. It is amazing. Salt everything. Bon appetit.
Nice.
Now I'm going to eat this twice a day. I intermittent fast as well. So my first meal right now, it's just about 2 o'clock, about perfect timing. So I'm going to eat this at 2, and about 9 o'clock tonight, I'll have my dinner. And I like it simple. So I eat the same thing twice a day. And there it is. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. Thanks for tuning in to Z Static. I'm Zach Sprinkle.